Lee Kiang from Liên Hợp Zappa. This question is for Mr. Lawrence Wong. You have worked on MediShield reforms a few years back, and yet today's society, many Singaporeans are still concerned about rising healthcare costs. So what more do you think that the government can do? And second question, what do you think are some qualities that the fourth generation core leaders should possess?
Two very different questions. Yes, healthcare is a very emotive issue. I've worked on one aspect of it on MediShield. I think ever since then, this was quite some time ago, 2004, our MediShield coverage has actually increased quite significantly. I don't have it offhand, but I think more than 90% of working adults are already covered by MediShield. And the coverage of MediShield itself has increased. And more importantly, there are more private shield plans, better ones, competitively priced. So I think the situation is much better now. Can it be improved further? Certainly. I think we can look at wider MediShield coverage, looking at things like MediShield for congenital illnesses, for example, how we can get even more people to come onto the MediShield scheme. It's good coverage, but can we get more? So I think there are certainly ways to improve. I think the Ministry of Health is doing a very good job, and I think we should continue to explore ways that we can fine-tune, not just on the financing side, that's a very important aspect, and insurance is one aspect, but also on the supply side, in terms of the better hospitals that we are getting, and more hospitals as well. Fourth generation leadership and qualities, I think if you talk about leadership qualities, certainly you want people who have the intellectual abilities to be able to think long-term, to analyze issues, and to be able to think strategically for the best interests of Singapore. You also need people with emotional intelligence, the ability to connect, to communicate, to reflect the aspirations of the people, to be able to persuade people and to forge consensus. But I think most importantly, you want people who have the character. They must have the heart to serve. They must have the conviction to want to do their best for the country and to put Singapore first. And they must have the support of all Singaporeans. That's critical.
Tai Ling from MediaCorp. I just want to ask the three candidates, do you think there's a shortage of talented Singaporeans to enter politics here? And what value do you think the opposition serves in Singapore?
You want to go in this opposite direction for a change?
Yeah.
Why don't you, Lawrence, go first?
Well, is there a shortage? I think there is certainly more interest in politics amongst young Singaporeans. In the civil service, every now and then I get invited by the Civil Service College to talk to young officers, and that's something that we get asked very, very often. What's the difference between the civil service, between the political role, and how the political landscape will evolve? So I think there's an interest, and I think it's a good sign that people are more interested in politics, because it shows that Singaporeans have a care, interested in the future of our country. I think if they are interested in politics for the genuine reason of wanting the best for Singapore, that's a good thing. That's something to be welcomed, that they have an interest in shaping the future of the country. What role does the opposition bring to Singapore politics, you say? Well, I think in any country, in any open political system which we have, each party will offer its platform and its programs for voters to decide. So voters have a choice. Singaporeans have a choice in our political system. Singaporeans have made that choice clearly over the past years. And certainly from my point of view, I hope that they will continue to support the PAP and support the programs that the PAP are putting in place. The political system and the political landscape, of course, will surely evolve over the years, and that's something that I think Singaporeans will have a say in how that landscape evolves. But we want ultimately a political system that works for the long-term interests of Singapore, that brings our people closer together instead of dividing or polarizing our society.
Okay, I think Singapore is a small place, so therefore naturally we've got a smaller pool, to fish for good talents. But having said that, I think we too have pretty good talents, but I think there are also opportunity costs that they have to weigh, and so there are different filters that we have to consider. In terms of opposition, well, if they are credible opposition, I'm sure they can add value to the country. But first, they must be credible. They must be able to truly bring something to the table. In fact, if I look at our PAP MPs, they are really pretty opposing in some of the parliamentary debate. So I think that as long as you want alternative voice, as long as you find that you're trying to fight for something that is good and meaningful, it doesn't really matter which color of shirt you wear, as long as you represent the people and you speak with conviction. Thank you.
I think in terms of talent, there is talent out there, but it's whether those talents are willing to come forward and even sacrifice things such as a career, family life, privacy, opportunity costs. So I don't think that we have a dearth of talent. It's just that whether people are willing to step forward. In terms of the value of the opposition, well, they're supposed to provide alternative views, choice for the voters. But I think what's important is to ensure that what you put forth is not necessarily always popular. You do not want to play the populist game where you put up something that you think people will like and then they'll vote you for that. I think we want opposition who will really think about the long-term future of the people in our country. Thank you.
Okay. I'm from Bitaran. This question goes out to Dr. Intan. Prior to joining politics, how do you rate, or rather, what are your views about the current Malay leadership? And if elected, how would you contribute to bring the Malay Muslim community forward? Thank you.
I think we have a good pool of Malay leadership at the moment. We have 12 of them. They come with very varied backgrounds, varied experiences. And they have done a lot for not just the Malay Muslim community, but also the Singapore society. I think we owe it to them for the progress that we've made so far, the social cohesion and harmony that we've enjoyed so far. If elected, I see myself as continuing the good work that has been done. I think we complement one another in terms of the background and experiences that we have. And in bringing together the Malay community, I think we've done well so far. The Malay community is quite united. Of course, there are some differences, but I think that happens in almost any community. So I just see myself as, if elected, I just see myself as carrying on the good work that has been done. Thank you.
Okay.